How is everyone today? Grade 3. Good to have you see me. Okay, today we are going to work on summarizing. Summarizing. Okay, this is when we take a story and we try to tell people what the story is about. Who is in the story? What happened? Okay, now we're gonna do it a little different than you usually do it. So usually we do like a book report, okay? Book report, right? So usually we just have you put the title, the author, who or what are the main characters or main animals in the book, what is the setting in the story, what happens in the book, right? And then we ask you if you like it. So this is what we usually do. Kind of summarize, right? We kind of summarize. So I just want you to remember, this is what we've done in the past. We're gonna do something a little different today. We are gonna do 5 important questions to summarize. So the most important question, who was the main character? Or who were the main characters, right? It might be more than one character, but the main character, okay? Today we'll focus on stories with a main character, just one, okay? So what did the character or person want? Okay, that's the second question. Somebody wanted. What did they want? They wanted what? Then we're gonna ask, what was the problem? So problem in the story, like what needed to be fixed, or who needed help, or what did the character want to find? What did the people want to find, right? And then we also want to ask, how did the character or person try to solve the problem? Okay, and the last question is, how did the story end? What was the resolution or outcome? What happened by the end? Okay, so just some things to think about. I'm gonna read a couple easy stories and we're gonna work on answering questions, okay? Now, there's no perfect answer. There are better answers for summarizing. There are good answers and there are maybe not perfect answers. But we are gonna try our best, okay? Today is Thursday, April 16th, 2020, all right? And we're going to read a really easy story. This is called Get the Pest. And it's a SpongeBob SquarePants. Do you know SpongeBob SquarePants? So, it's called, Get the Pest. Okay? Now, just looking at the book, who is the main character? Who do you think is the main character? Looking at the book. It's probably going to be this guy, right? It's probably SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay? So, sometimes the cover of book just tells you in 1 second the main character, right? Okay? Now, Get the Pest is by Quinlan B. Lee. Quinlan B. Lee. SpongeBob was set for bed. Today was the best, he said. But even Bubbles need to rest. So, he did some bubbles. Okay. But even Bubbles need to rest. SpongeBob sat up in bed. Help, he said. My bubbles did not rest. They are not by my bed. There is only a wet mess. So what do you think the problem is? What's the problem? What's the problem? The problem is that the bubbles did not rest, right? And what did SpongeBob want? What do you think he wanted? He probably wanted some help. Help. Okay? SpongeBob wanted help. Easy so far, right? Who let my bubbles out? Said SpongeBob. I will get that pest. I will not rest until I get my bubbles back. So let's see what SpongeBob will do to solve the problem. What will he do to solve the problem? The tracks led to Squidward. Did you let my bubbles out? Asked SpongeBob. No, said Squidward. I was in my bag. So Squidward didn't do it. Will you help me find the pest? Asked SpongeBob. I will help you if you let me get back to bed, said Squidward. Me too, said Patrick. So it sounds like they will help if they can go to sleep, right? So what did SpongeBob do to get help? He asked some friends. Let's make a test, said Squidward. Oh, sorry. Let's make a test, said Squidward. You get some rest, and I will get the pest who let the bubbles out. So look, they're sleeping, there's bubbles, and Squidward is going to take a picture of whoever's letting the bubbles out. SpongeBob and Patrick got some rest. Pop, 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 went the bubbles. Hey, you got me wet, said Patrick. It was me, said SpongeBob. I was the pest. Now we can all get some rest. Okay, so we've got our sheet, right? And I started to write some of the answers, but not the answers. I wrote a sentence frame to start us off, right? Who was the main character in this book? The main character, and that should say was, the main character was SpongeBob, right? Let's get a different pen. I want green. There you go. Okay. Ha. So the main character was SpongeBob. Okay? The main character was SpongeBob. What did the character or person want? The main character wanted, do you remember what we said? The main character wanted help. Okay? So, what was the problem? So, the problem in the story was, the bubbles did not rest, right? The bubbles did not rest, right? They needed to get the pest. You could also write, they wanted to get the pest. The bubbles popped. The bubbles were on the floor. There's so many answers. I put an easy one. The bubbles did not rest. Many of the answers are in the story. Who let my bubbles out? I will get that pest. I will not rest until I get my bubbles back, right? My bubbles did not rest. That was the problem, okay? Easy to find the problem. You can do that. You do it in Chinese, right? You do it in Chinese stories. So now we're just going to do it in English stories. So the character, how did the character or person try to solve the problem? So the character solved the problem by, who did he talk to? Who did he ask for help? So the character solved the problem by asking his friends for help, right? You could say the character solved the problem by talking to Squidward and Patrick, right? Pretty easy, okay? You could say he solved the problem by not resting until he found the pest. Many, many answers, okay? So what was the resolution? How did the story end? In the end, or at the end of the story, what happened? We're going to start with our main character. So at the end, SpongeBob was the pest, right? At the end, SpongeBob was the pest. Or we could say at the end of the story, Squidward showed SpongeBob he popped the bubbles, right? Okay? So you could say many, many things. I think it's okay if you want to say the easy thing. You know, in the end, SpongeBob was the pest. How did it get solved? We found out who the pest was, right? So, many, many answers to this. We're going to work on this many more times, okay? And for homework, you're going to have to read some stories and try your best to answer some of these questions, okay? If you can answer all, great. But you must at least answer who's the main character, what did the person want, what was the problem, okay? You have to answer those three at first. So we're going to try with those three first, and maybe we'll try again tomorrow. We'll see. Okay. Do one more version of this. See you soon.